Nothing heard. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question will be read over the air to each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. And before we go in, the question of the night is, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? I should have said other than money, because that's probably a given, but unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? Let's see who we got so far. We have KJ6ARR, German George in Scottsdale. He's checked in already. Via mail, got his answer correct. JR2FJI, George in Kawagoe, Japan. KN6MIK, Mike in San Diego. N6MOT, Little Al in Monterey. KK7HLD, Dave in Portland's in and out tonight. He's at another engagement. KK7AVK, Victoria in Phoenix, Arizona. KO6HDJ, Brent in Pensacola via the text line. VE3RWJ, Chris in Ancaster, Ontario, Canada via email. KI7ZRI, Don in Kennewick, Washington on the text line. K8BYU, Roy in Blasdell, New York. VK2DY, Robert in Kelly Ridge, Australia. KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. KN6JLW and KN6JLX, Stephanie and Larry in Oak Grove, California. Let me drop this again. KC2, JPQ, Frank in Lancaster, New York. KQ4UPK, Chris in Hollywood, Florida. And KD3, BPA, Chad in Cottigan, Pennsylvania. That's what I have so far on the text and email lines. If anybody else would like to check in, come with your full call sign phonetically twice, please. KK7OGC, KK7OGC. Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel, Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel.
BR, Alpha Charlie 4, Bravo Romeo. Alex, if you don't care, call me in and out. I'll do a recheck if I can participate. Had a friend of mine lose his oldest stepson, so I'm headed over there for the time being. So you all have a good evening.
W2, CJ, in and out. Okay, hold up a second. That last station that checked in, we're having trouble pulling you out there. Got to try your call sign again, please. Well, somehow I couldn't hear you, but Ricky managed to pull you out. KF4OUP, thanks. Thanks, Byron. And one other station, KF8 station, the prefix KF8. Could you try again with your call sign twice? KF8 or anything close? Well, still not getting anything, but that's okay. We'll be doing this several times, give everybody an opportunity to check in. All right, take it to the top. The question of the night. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? George, Kawagoe, Japan, JR2FJI. How you doing, buddy?
Well, how is there, mate? I like that, mate. It makes me so Australian. Crocodile dandy.
Well, most important to me would be water, but really clean water, not spoiled, infested water. Really 100% clean water. I just love water. Maybe that's why I have blue eyes. The kids in the kindergarten asked me, why do you have blue eyes? I said, I like water, you know. I was born in the ocean, so they all make surprised faces. Yeah, well, that's me, the waterman. Okay, now give me a good question. Back to you, Alex.
Yeah, it's something a lot of people take for granted, George. It's a good idea. A good selection. All right, your question is, in Atlantic City in 1983, organized crime was believed to be responsible for the increase of violence between the owners of these businesses, A, casinos, B, escort services, C, hot dog carts. What do you think, George?
It's the United States. All three would be good, I think, but you only accept one answer. That means let's go with, I know I'm wrong, but I go with casinos. Alex, thanks for doing the net, and my best regards to everyone out there on the net. JR to FTI, port on, back to net control.
Yeah, they do have casinos in Atlantic City, and they do have escort services, but the 1983 violence was caused by hot dog cart owners. Yeah, hot dog cart owners, independent hot dog cart vendors were being beaten and threatened with guns, having their carts kicked in and tipped over, the larger ones with the vendors still inside. Atlantic City police officials said the thugs were connected to organized crime, which controlled several of the hot dog carts in the city. Yep, you couldn't believe it, it's true. Nowadays, the hot dog carts post health department ratings of A, B, or C, so you'll know which type of hepatitis you'll get. Thanks. Thanks, George. Mike in San Diego, KN6MIK. Mike, unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I think I'd have to go for world peace, because I'm really getting tired of today's environment. Hit me, brother. I'm ready.
Hang in there, Mike. It's coming, as I bet you know. It's coming. Your question is, 1970s singer Dave Mason was with this band before going solo. You know, one of his songs was that, well, let's leave it alone because we can't see eye to eye. That guy. Was it with A, the Dave Clark 5, B, Traffic, or C, Buck Owens and the Buckaroos? What was Dave Mason's previous gig, Mike?
You know, Alex, wow. I'm going to have to go with A, Alpha. Always a pleasure, Alex. KN6MIK, back to you.
Come on, Mike, just because I ask questions that nobody would know, it's B, Traffic. Yeah, Dave Mason was with Traffic before going solo, which is odd because I've never heard him associated with Traffic, but I wasn't a big follower of the band. Thanks. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you playing, buddy. Little Al in Monterey, California, N6, MOT. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, Little Al, what would it be? Try it again. Get the right microphone, the right connection, Little Al.
I think that other network sabotaged you from coming on this one. No, just kidding. N6MOT, one more time. And you are correct. That is welcome back to my... Okay, let's see. David Portland, I say, was in and out. Let's go to Victoria in Phoenix, KK7AVK. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Good evening, Alex. This is Victoria, KK7AVK. And I'll say something that is totally just for me. I guess art supplies. And I'm drawing right now as I'm listening to the radio. I'm waiting for the actual question.
Yeah, at least you have something constructive to do instead of just listening to this and that. It'd be nice to have that, because I know they're kind of pricey. Unlimited amateur radios, now that'd probably be a bad idea. Art supplies, better. And your question is, North American wood frogs have the ability to, A, croak as loud as 140 decibels when attracting a mate. B, hold their breath underwater for 3 days. Or C, freeze themselves in the winter and thaw out in the spring. Which one, Victoria?
Well, I'm going to go with Alpha this time and hope for the best. Thanks, Alex. Have a great evening. KK7AVK, back to net.
Not too many North American wood frogs where you come from, are there? No, they, although there are some species of frog that can croak really loud, these guys freeze themselves in the winter and thaw out in the spring. Yep, they actually freeze themselves and thaw out. It's the only animal, I believe, that can do that. Thanks, Victoria. Oh, by the way, have you seen the ballet frog lake? It's like Swan Lake, but with more leaping. Hope to catch you next Saturday. Brent in Pensacola, KF6HTJ. Brent, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what you gonna pick?
Alex and Vicky. Well, I was going to say plush bats, but then I was thinking that if I have an unlimited supply of money, then that would lead to an unlimited supply of a lot of other things. So I'm going to go with money, and back to you for my question.
You could do a lot of good with a lot of money, not just for yourself and family and all that. So, all right, Brent, hey, you get the word news trivia story of the week. I'm doing it kind of earlier tonight. It is. Which of the following headlines is an actual news story from last week? You got 4 to choose from with this one. A, child slaves at Chinese garment factory, so pay us what you owe us on shirts for professional athletes. B, New Zealand cat caught stealing underwear from neighbors' homes. C, Pizza Italy closes the Leaning Tower due to earthquake fears. Or D, GE recalls washing machines that filled to please lonely housewives. Which of those was an actual news headline?
Well, stealing underwear sounds exactly like what a cat would do, so I'm going to go with Bravo. KF6HDJ.
Yeah, you're correct. A New Zealand cat caught stealing underwear from neighbors' homes. Now, usually when there's an animal involved in these answers, that's the case because they do odd things. But Leo the cat earned the nickname Leonardo da Vinci after he was shown to be a literal cat burglar with a penchant for stealing underwear. Owner Helen North said Leo, a 14-month-old Tonkinese, has brought home about 150 pilfered items in the past 9 months. Okay, thanks. Chris, Ancaster, Ontario. V3RWJ, welcome back, buddy. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what you gonna pick? And give Chris a minute to connect. V3RWJ. One more time, Chris, and I'll have to come back to you later. V3RWJ. We'll catch him later. Up next, Don in Kennebec, Washington, KI7ZRI. All right. If you and Dorothy could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your lives, what would it be?
Hey there, Alex, and everyone. That's Don, KI7ZRI. You know, Alex, I'm going to have to go with leisure free time. Time that I'm not busting my hump for the man to make ends meet. Just time I could just do whatever I would like to with. So let's go with time.
It's a good one, working for the man every night and day. But I never saw the good side of this. Anyway. All right, your question is, Black Sabbath's final album, of course you heard about Ozzy Osbourne, which is strange why someone like that would get more attention than, oh, never mind. Black Sabbath's final album in 2013, in 2013 ended the same way their first album in 1970 began. Yep, it ended the same way that the 1970 album began. What was that? A, the sound of bats flying. The sound of Ozzy Osbourne saying, I. Or C, the sound of rain falling and a church bell ringing in the distance. Which of those is true, you Black Sabbath fan, Don?
I do love Ozzy, especially the good stuff. Black Sabbath, awesome as well. You know, I'm a metalhead to the core. But you know what? I'm doing a guess, a wild guess. Let's go with the Charlie. Thanks for doing that there, Alex.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, the first album in 2013 was The Sound of Rain Falling and a Church Bell Ringing in the Distance, and it went into the rest of the album. And the last one, the first one in 1970 was anyway, you know what I mean. And the 2013 one ended with the same exact recording. That's a nice touch, actually. Thanks, Don. It's W7 FTM, along with Vicky, K8 VKY, and you're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and we're going to Roy in Blasdell, New York, K8 BYU.
Vicky, everybody on the net, KA8 BYU. I'd have to go with an unlimited supply of treats and that for the kids who are both up here in the chair with me right now.
You know, the way my wife buys those, I think we have an unlimited supply, but you always got to have some in case there's a shortage. That and toilet paper, according to her. All right, Roy, I understand your question is, pit viper snakes have the ability to, A, sense vibrations on the ground over 8 miles away, B, see the temperature of objects thanks to infrared receptors under their nostrils, or C, become members of Congress as civil servants. What do pit vipers have the ability to do?
I'm going to go with A, alpha, just for the heck of it.
Well, it's one of two good answers, because C is understood already. That's B. Pit viper snakes have the ability to see the temperature of objects thanks to infrared receptors under their nostrils. They have night vision goggles built into their face. So it's a lot of rattle snakes around here too. And by the way, I saw a snake in my yard today. It was 3.4 meters long. I thought it must be a python. Then I remembered snakes don't have digits. So, yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Roy. Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia, VK2DY. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
This is Robert, VK2DY. Good afternoon. I'm thinking about this. At 71, I'd really like to have an unlimited amount of time. Just time, life, youth, whatever. That's sort of the thing that would be nice to be unlimited at this point. VK2DY.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even look at it that way, but you're right. I'll use a little more time. Maybe try to correct things before it's too late. But on a brighter note, your question is, who was the only U.S. president to receive a patent? The only one that got a patent. Was that A, Abraham Lincoln, B, Teddy Roosevelt, or C, Winston Churchill? Which one?
I think I read about this somewhere. I think, Abraham Lincoln was a pretty clever man, so I think he must have had a patent or two at some point. He's the only one I can think of that would have done that. So I'm going to go with Abraham Lincoln, VK2DY.
Yeah, how about that? I didn't know that about him either. Abraham Lincoln was the only U.S. president to receive a patent. He invented a method for buoying vessels over shoals, which was a common problem on the Ohio and Mississippi rivers that he traveled often. So he came up with that invention. Thanks. Thank you, Robert. Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon, KI7LAG. Unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life. What would it be?
Good evening, Alex. This is Patrick, KI7LAG. I'm going to go with Hostess Twinkies, because when the apocalypse comes, you're going to need a sustainable food source that's going to last you for 1,000 years. So you got to stock up on them Twinkies. Go ahead with your question.
You and my wife. Thank you, Patrick, for that thoughtful answer. And your question is, okay. When asked if he visited the Parthenon while he was in Greece, this professional athlete said, I don't really remember all the clubs we went to. A, Tom Brady, B, Yogi Berra, or C, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, that sounds like something that Shaq would say in his early years. So I'll go with Charlie, KI7LAG, back to net.
I thought for sure someone would pick Yogi Berra on this because he was famous for saying funny things, that the difference here is if Yogi Berra would have said it, it would have been funny. Shaquille O'Neal was serious, and you are correct. Yeah, it was Shaq, but it's funny no matter how you look at it. Thank you, Patrick. And next up, Stephanie and Larry in Elk Grove, California, KN6JLW, KN6JLX. All right, guys. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? I might know this one, but it might surprise me. What is it?
Hey, Alex. This is Larry, KN6JLX, along with Stephanie, KN6JLW, and we would both go with endless hell. Thanks for our question.
Well, you're on the right track anyway, so thanks. Thank you, Larry. And your question is, When asked about his IQ, he replied, "I have no idea. People who boast about their IQs are losers." Was that A, Albert Einstein, B, Stephen Hawking, or C, Shaquille O'Neal?
I think we're both going to go with Charlie, Alex. Thanks for doing the net, and we'll talk to you next week.
Which would have been funny had he said that, but that was Stephen Hawking. Someone asked him about his IQ, and he said, "I have no idea. People boast about their IQs are losers." All right. Well, if that was the first Stephen Hawking or the one they replaced him with, yeah, that's another story. Thanks, guys. It's a W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Frank in Lancaster, New York. KC2 JPQ. Is this a science question? I don't know. Anyway, Frank, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Good evening, Alex, and everybody listening to the net. Yeah, I was thinking about health also, but I'll go with AA batteries. And I'm ready for my question. Back to you, Alex.
Damn straight. Always running out of those, especially all the equipment that we have around here. Okay, Frank, your question is, George W. Bush, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt were all this before they became president. A, Democrats, B, soda jerks, or C, school cheerleaders.
You got me laughing again over here, Alex. I'm going to go with B, Bravo. Just a wild guess, I'm not sure. But good job on the net, and I'll talk to you next week. KC2JPQ.
Thank you, Frank. I would have said just jerks. That wouldn't have, people would take offense. Because, no, they weren't all Democrats. They weren't all soda jerks. They were all school cheerleaders. Cheerleaders in high school or college. Bush, Eisenhower, Reagan, and Franklin Roosevelt. By the way, one of our aircraft carriers, the USS Gerald Ford, entered the Mediterranean Sea last week. Unfortunately, it tripped on the Rock of Gibraltar on the way in, but I think they're going to be okay. Thank you, Frank. Chris in Hollywood, Florida, KQ4UPK. Chris, one thing, unlimited supply, rest of your life. What is it?
One thing for the rest of my life, I would say to be able to have inner peace for the entire world, including myself.
It's a good thing to wish for. Let's hope it happens. I believe it will, not too much longer. Your question, though, is the original public fitness guru, Jack LaLanne, remember him or seen old clips about him? Opened a health and fitness exercise club in 1936. I didn't realize he went back that far. What did doctors back then say about Mr. LaLanne? A, they praised his innovative methods to keep the public fit. B, they warned that some people may not be fit enough to use his methods. Or C, they said that he was an exercise nut whose programs would make people muscle-bound, cause heart attacks, and diminish their sex drive. What did they say about Jack LaLanne in 1936?
I would probably go with C. Gosh, I have really no. That's got to be C.
Well, yeah, times have changed. Yeah, that's what they said about him. He was around when I was a kid. He was doing an exercise show on TV, and I guess he was already in his 50s then, or 40s, or maybe, I don't know. That was amazing guy. Very, very friendly, too. Very energetic. Thank you, Chris. Chad in Cadogan, Pennsylvania, KD3BPA. All right, Chad, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
My apologies, you caught me with a mouthful of I'm going to have to go with groceries, general groceries, because it chunks my paycheck.
That's a good choice. A lot of people would overlook that, but you're right. If you don't have the basics to survive no matter what happens, and of course, a lot of us preppers, we try to have everything at hand, but, unlimited groceries would be good. Thank you. Thank you, Chad. And your question is, what is Brown Friday? Brown Friday. A, the day that plumbers call the Friday after Thanksgiving. B, the Friday before Christmas when UPS makes the most deliveries. Or C, the first Friday of January when the post office delivers the most brown envelope business class mail. What's Brown Friday? Any of those would work. What do you think, Chad?
Well, when you first asked the question of the fleas, my first thing popped into my mind was
Come back with your answer again.
I'm going to go with A, the day after Thanksgiving, and that was the first thing that popped into my mind when you asked the question.
As it is appropriately named, yeah, it's A. Brown Friday is the day the plumbers call the Friday after Thanksgiving. Those lavish Thanksgiving meals lead to a massive surge in business for them. So, yeah. By the way, you know why you don't see brown envelopes in the mail anymore? Because everyone knows that white mails get to this system faster. Thanks, Chad. Fred Reno, KK7OGC. Fred, if you could have a limited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, I would take good jokes. What would it be?
Hey Alex, KK7OGC, Fred in Reno. I have to go with money. I want to give it all away and make the world better. KK7OGC, Fred in Reno.
Well, giving it all away doesn't necessarily, well, yeah, yeah, I know, but I get your point, though, I understand. Fred, your question is, now I've got 7 of these coming up, so everybody prepare yourselves. These are misquoted quotes. These are quotes attributed to people or something that they said which isn't quite right. Okay, yours, number 1 is, Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. What did Jack Swigert actually say on the doomed Apollo 13 mission? Was it A, okay, Houston, we have a problem here. B, Houston, something has come up. Or C, Houston, what the F just happened?
Gee. My girlfriend's saying, don't choose the obvious answer. So I'm going to go with Charlie on that one, just 'cause.
Although nowadays that would be common, a response using that F word, but now they, to his credit, he's probably thinking that, but Jack Swigert actually said, not Houston, we have a problem, but A, okay, Houston, we have a problem here. I know it's real close, but it's misquoted a lot, so. Thank you, Fred, and your assistant. David in Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH. All right, David, you have unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life. What would it be? Don't worry, I won't make any Kentucky jokes, so what would you say?
Alex, neighbor one on the net. Let's say supply of patience, because according to a recent scientific study, it's been proven that it would also help others lead longer, healthier, happier lives.
Thank you, David. Patience is no cliches on this net. Okay, your question is, misquoted quotes number 2. Nice guys finish last. Did baseball great Leo DeRocher actually say, A, nice guys are suckers, B, nice guys are all over there in 7th place, or C, nice guys have the unfortunate disadvantage of not being aggressive enough to accomplish their goals? What did the Leo DeRocher say?
No idea who that person is, so I'm just going to go along with C, Charlie, because it sounds like a decent answer. Thanks for doing that, Alex. Catch you next week. W9, Diddy Bitch.
David, well, Leo DeRocher is a famous baseball coach years and years ago, and that would have been an intelligent way to put it, C, but what he said was B. Not nice guys finish last, but nice guys are all over there in 7th place, meaning that, you're going to be way behind if you're too nice in baseball. Thanks. Thank you, dude. Bart, Cortland Manor, New York, K2BUH, via the text line. Bart, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Freedom. K-U-H.
All right, Bart, yes, as William Wallace said in Braveheart, you're hopefully not in that same situation. Your question is misquoted quotes number 3. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. What Edmund Burke really said was, A, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. B, for rebellion is like the sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Or C, when bad men combine, the good must associate, else they will fall one by one, an unpitied sacrifice and a contemptible struggle. Which one of those do you think he actually said?
Well, go with Bravo. Go with Bravo.
So far I'm striking out with these. Actually, the Bravo is from the Bible, which is good in its own right, but no, yeah, Edmund Burke said that when bad men combine, the good must associate, else they will fall one by one, an unpitied sacrifice and a contemptible struggle, instead of the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil for good men to do nothing, which basically means the same thing. He just put it in the way politicians in the 1700s spoke. So, by the way, I probably mentioned this before, but if you get a chance, go to YouTube, look up a comedian named John Branyan, B-R-A-N-Y-A-N, John Branyan, and the Three Little Pigs. And he does one of the funniest stand-up routines I've ever seen. If the Three Little Pigs was written in Shakespeare's time, and because they used a lot more words back then, larger vocabulary. Thanks, thank you, Bart. Andy in Cheektowaga, New York, W2AJR. Welcome back, Andy. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing the rest of your life, what would it be?
Everybody on the net, I would like an unlimited supply of $10 bills. Back to you.
Hey, that's good, because people wouldn't get suspicious if you're passing a lot of... you could deposit them in the bank and, well, nonetheless, you'd have spending money for a while. Your question is misquoted quotes number 4. Somebody get one of these right. God will never give you more than you can handle. God will never give you more than you can handle. What does the verse in 1 Corinthians actually say? A, the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. B, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Boy, they got really wordy back. Or C, take my yoke upon you, then learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden light. What was the actual quote there, Randy?
I'm going to say B.
You are correct, sir. Yeah, it's B. I won't say it again because I'll probably mess it up, but it comes from 1 Corinthians, and they just shortened it to God will never give you more than you can handle, which is okay, because nowadays people's vocabularies aren't quite as large as they were in those times. Thanks, Shakespeare's times. Thank you, Andy. Okay, Byron in Cape Coral, Florida. KL4UP, welcome to the ECR Night Trivia Net. And if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? We're in Cape Coral, Florida, KL4UP. Okay, I think you tried before and we lost him before, maybe not. We're almost to the end of this list, so we'll go ahead and give it a try later. Next up, KL4RCS Rich in Meadow Lakes, Alaska. Welcome back, Rich. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? Warm weather? Well, maybe not.
Good evening, Alex and all the net. This is KL4RCS Rich, Meadow Lakes, Alaska, 71 degrees out there. Oh, man, I tell you what. Actually, let me tell you one thing real quick here, Alex. We have a frog up here. I heard something you said earlier. That actually freezes and hibernates and stops breathing and all of that completely hibernates until he thaws out in the spring. He freezes all winter long. And I think I'm going to go with either money or ice cream. Back to you.
Yeah, I know it's a hard decision, but I'll take money. And yeah, North American wood fry. I didn't know they went that far north, but apparently they do. So yeah, you got them up there. It's pretty cool. But you wish you could do that. Well, no, it'd be hard to make a living that way. Okay, Rich, your question is misquoted quotes number 5. Luke, I am your father. What did Darth Vader really say? A, Luke, I am your father. Let us pray. B, Luke, you must fulfill your destiny. I am your father. Or C, no, I am your father. Which one was it?
Are you trying to confuse me? I'm going to go with Bravo tonight. Let's go down the middle. Thanks for doing the net. Glad to be back. KL4RCS.
He did say, Luke, you must fulfill your destiny, but that was in the next movie or 2 movies over. The misquote is, Luke, I am your father, but what he actually said was, no, I am your father. Because Luke they're in a big battle, and Skywalker's complaining that you killed my father, and then he comes back with, no, I am your father, and the plot thickens. Not bad for sci-fi. Thanks. Thank you, Rich. At W7FTM, Scottsdale, Arizona, along with Vicky KVKY in Michigan, and you're listening to the ECR Trivia Net. Next up, Chris in Phoenix, AA7CR. Welcome back, Chris. Again, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would you pick?
Well, good evening, Alex. This is Chris, AA7CR. It would have to be either common sense or money. I guess with enough money, you can get away from all the idiots, and it wouldn't matter if they had common sense or not. But money or common sense?
Shorter of both in my neighborhood. Thanks, Chris. You're, by the way, hope to hear you on the 2100 net Sunday night. Your question is, okay, I got two more of these. Misquoted quotes number 6. Let them eat cake, said Marie Antoinette. No, actually she didn't. The quote comes from A, French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, B, King Louis XIV, or C, the Royal Palace Baker. Where does that quote come from, Chris?
I would have preferred the last one. I knew that one. Let's go with the Palace Baker to suggest. Back to you, Alex, AA7CR.
Thank you, Chris. And that one comes from A, French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Let them eat cake. He was writing about the attitude of a fictional princess. But wait, there's more. He wasn't talking about dessert cake. Back then, cake was the burnt crud coating the inside of the large ovens they used to cook food. The princess was literally telling the poor to eat crap and be happy, so that gives it a whole other meaning, but it wasn't Marie Antoinette. You know how the victors write the history. Thanks. Hey, Chris, Frank in Sugar Land, Texas, KJ5DXB. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
KJ5DXB. Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everybody out there. I'd go for an unlimited supply of golf balls. Back to you, sir.
I hear you, Frank. I hear you. You're in Texas, so you understand. Your question is, all right, the last one of these. Yeah, you misquoted quotes number 7. In the original 1931 movie Dracula, actor Bela Lugosi is quoted as saying, "I want to suck your blood." It never happened. What was the closest thing to that he did say? A, "I spilled wine on your neck, my dear. Let me lick it off." B, "I prefer red wine under 25 years old." Or C, "I never drink wine."
Oh, let me go with Charlie on that one. I have no idea. Never drink wine. Thanks for the check-in, Alex. Have a good one. Talk to you next time. KJ5DXB.
Now, I didn't do the quote justice, but the way he said it, and it's much better than "I want to suck your blood." Yeah, I never drink wine. Yeah, that's what's in that movie. Dig it up, so to speak, and watch it if you get the chance. Thanks, Frank. Teresa, College Station, Texas. Welcome back, Teresa, K5MUX. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? Jammers? Just kidding.
Oh, this is K5MUX, and Lord, I don't know. I guess as Tevye said, it's no shame in being poor, but it's no great honor either, so what would it hurt if I had a small fortune? So let's go with money. What is my question tonight?
Maybe those expensive Renaissance fairs, wouldn't it? At least you could donate more to it. Further now, Teresa's a controller on another network, and she understands what it's like to do this job. Your question, Teresa. Camels are originally from A, North America, B, China, C, the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company.
While C is a tempting answer, I think I'm going to go Bravo. Thanks for doing the net 73L KE5MUX.
And when I researched this, I thought, well, it's got to be China, right? No, the camels are originally from North America. The moose-sized woolly animals. I try that again. The moose-sized woolly animals were the ancestors of the desert camels we have today. They crossed the land bridge between Alaska and Siberia 45 million years ago. And that's how they got over there. We should have camels. They've probably been eaten by the Native Americans. Thank you, Teresa. All right, taking more check-ins for the ECR Trivia Net. Full call sign. Phonetically twice, please. And if my wife would stop that vacuum in the other room, I might be able to hear you. Come now.
Kilo Bravo 5, Victor Alpha Oscar. Kilo Bravo 5, Victor Alpha Oscar.
Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie. Whiskey Delta 8, Papa India Charlie.
Kilo India 5, Whiskey Uniform. Kilo India 5, Whiskey Uniform.
KC1 QPL, KC1 QPL.
Hey, you picked up 1, 2, 3, 4 more. KB5VAO, David in Lubbock. WD8PIC, Bob in Sylvania, Ohio. KI5WWU, Lynn in Houston. And KC1 QPL, John in South Park, Minnesota. Hang on a second, I have to open the jar for my wife. Be right back.
You were calling for a repeat on my call sign, Alex. Kilo Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo. Kilo Charlie 7, Zulu Bravo.
Okay, Hal got you in too. All right, I'm back. You know, first things first. Question of the night. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? First, let me check if Little Al made it back here. N6 MOT, are you out there? Yes, honey, got called away too. Chris in Ancaster, Ontario, B3RWJ. Did you make it? And finally, Byron in Cape Coral, KF4OUP. The question tonight, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing the rest of your life, what would it be? David in Lubbock, Texas, KB5VAO.
Good afternoon to everybody on the net. Unfortunately, I'm for coffee, and it's not getting any cheaper, so unlimited supply of that, and patience, since people are doubling up on it.
maybe 5 years. Yeah, it could get expensive soon too. So, hey, thank you, David. And your question is: in 1993, an Arizona murder suspect was caught and convicted thanks to DNA evidence the police collected from A, the victim's cat, B, the suspect's twin brother, or C, a Palo Verde tree. I believe it was C. That's pretty good if you remember that story. That's correct. Yeah, it's the Palo Verde tree. They got the DNA evidence from the 2 seed pods from the desert tree, common around here in Arizona, of course, placed the accused at the scene of the crime. The pods were found in a pickup truck belonging to Mark Bogan, who was accused of murdering a prostitute and dumping her body in an abandoned factory. Bogan said he spent time with the woman that day, but denied ever visiting the murder site. The seed pods fell into the truck after it scraped the tree while he was leaving the scene of the crime. So police were able to match the pods to the same tree. First time it's ever happened. So it's kind of incredible police work, actually. Thank you. Thank you, David. All right, now let's go to Little Al. N6MOT, I believe he's back. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, good evening. Glad I could make it. Unlimited supply of one thing. I guess time. I'm sure someone's already said that too. Wish I could have an unlimited supply of time, because I wouldn't mind living a little while longer. Anyway, ready for the question.
I think time might be in the lead. I'll have to look to make sure, but yep. Your question is, musician Frank Zappa predicted this back in 1989. Way back in 1989. A, Donald Trump would be elected president. B, digital music downloads. Or C, people moving to Montana to become dental floss tycoons. What did he predict?
I'm just going to roll the dice on this one, Alex. Probably music downloads. Not sure, but I'll go with music downloads. How's that? Thanks for giving me a call a couple times. I appreciate it. N6MOT, Alan Monterey.
No problem. Don't allow anybody that checks in this net regularly. I try to get in if we can, and you are correct. Yeah, although 1989 doesn't seem that long ago to most of us, digital music wasn't around for the most part. CDs were, but yeah, he predicted digital music downloads in 1989, that there'd be a central location where people could download over computers music to listen to artist music. Of course, he probably thought they were going to be compensated better for that, but anyway, a man ahead of his time, or behind his time if you know his music. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bob in Sylvania, Ohio, WAPIC. Hello, Bob. If you could have an unlimited thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, I could think of a couple of things. So I'm trying to decide. I'm going to say food. I have a health issue that costs me about $400 a month. I wouldn't mind having that. Actually, unlimited health would be wonderful too, but also, you found a snake in the grass. Well, that snake was supposed to do something else, and said it didn't do something else. You decided to sue her.
No, I decided to stay away from it because you hard to tell the rattlesnakes from the pythons in this area unless you're real close to them. You don't have native pythons. That's a joke. Okay, Bob, thank you. That's a good thing too. Food. I think somebody else, the other people mentioned food. Your question is, The ironic thing about those packages of reading glasses you see in the store, that are in the store, they are next to impossible to open for elderly people they're intended for. And B, one of the lenses is usually weaker than the other one. Or C, the text on them is so small you need reading glasses to see them. What's the ironic thing about those store reading glasses?
I'm going to say something that I can't see because I have no idea. I knew they had them in the store, but obviously they won't do me any good. And my favorite color is black, and I'm always in the dark. So mushroom. So anyway, I go with the answer if that's not it.
Well, Bob, that is it. Yeah, it's, see, the text on the packages of reading glasses in the store is too small to be read without reading glasses, and I know this to be true. Not for me, I buy them for my wife. I don't need them much. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for checking in, buddy. It's a W7 FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Lynn in Houston. KF5 WW, welcome back. And if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing the rest of your life, what would it be?
Good evening, Alex and everyone. Thanks for running the net. Entertaining as always. KI5 WW, Lynn in Houston. I will go with Bluebell Ice Cream from Brenham, Texas. I am ready for my question, sir.
Ice cream it is. Thank you, Lynn. And your question is, why are manhole covers round? Ever know? Well, of course you know. Yeah, manhole covers are round. Why is that? A, it's the least expensive shape to make, and B, so they won't fall into the hole, or C, the oval manhole was already the name of a club in second time. Nobody knows. What do you think?
Interesting question. I'm going to go with Bravo. Back to you, sir. KI5 WWU.
And you are correct, yeah, so they won't fall into the hole. That the round shape prevents them, no matter how they're tipped or tilted or taken off, they won't fall into the hole, which would make a very bad day for somebody working underground to have a manhole fall on your head. So that's, thank goodness the city figured that out. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. John in South St. Paul, Minnesota, 51 QPL. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing, say it slowly, Alex, for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Good evening, Alex. Sorry for the delay there. Had a little glitch on my end. Well, the obvious answer is time. But if it's only for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be able to extend my life. So if I could have an endless supply, it would be auroral backscatter on 10 meters. And that would be my answer. So put me down for auroral backscatter on 10 meters. And what's my question, my friend?
Oh, good. I'm not the only one. Thank you, John. Your question is, actress Marilyn Monroe was discovered in 1945 while she was working, A, at a Hollywood drugstore, B, as an intern for Harvey Weinstein, or C, at a radio plane assembly line.
Well, the answer I've always heard is that she was working in a Hollywood diner. I'm going to go with that.
Now I found this out myself also. She was discovered in 45 working at a radio plane assembly line. Army photographer David Conover saw her and thought she had modeling potential. In those days, you could go up and say that to a woman and they wouldn't call the police on you. And don't do it now. Believe me, don't do it now. And that's how they discovered her. They led to her getting a screen test, and she made her way to the bowels of Hollywood. Thank you, John. Appreciate you being there, buddy. Let's go to Hal in Hillsboro, Oregon. KC7ZZB, welcome back. And if you could have unlimited supply of one thing the rest of your life, what would it be?
It'd be health, because without good health, you can't enjoy much of anything else. KC7ZZB.
Sir, and your question is, I've got a Jeopardy-style question for you. The answer is 11 stories tall. 11 stories tall. What's the question? A, how high is the tallest building in Vermont? B, how high is the Washington Monument? C, how high can the average flea jump?
You were kind of falling out on me. I didn't hear much of it. But I'll go ahead and go with C, just for the heck of it. KC7ZZB.
You know, the funny thing is that they can jump the equivalent, if, human-wise or whatever, pretty darn high, but I don't think it's 11 stories. The 11 stories tall is how high the tallest building is in Vermont. Yeah, the Decker Towers was built in 1971 and is located in Burlington. They had a fire about 10 years ago or so, and but they rebuilt it and don't allow smoking in there anymore because that's what caused the fire. Thank you, Hal. That's probably more than you ever wanted to know about Decker Towers. But let's go to Brad in Cincinnati, Ohio. Checked in via the text line N8QQ. Welcome back. And if you could have unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, would you believe me if I said love? I'm kidding. It's probably money. That's a decent answer. Back to you.
Oh, get out of here, Brad. Man, come on. No, we'll take your word for it. Okay, your question is, I think he's making some comments I probably shouldn't share. Your question, nothing bad though. What's the only body in the solar system besides Earth that has liquid on its surface? Is that A, Uranus, B, Jupiter's moon Ganymede, or C, Saturn's moon Titan?
Well, just because it's fun to say, and I don't really know, I'm going to say Uranus. Back to net.
Not my, no, it's C, actually. The Saturn's moon Titan is the only body in the solar system besides Earth that has liquid on its surface. It's not water, it's oceans of liquid methane, but nonetheless, it's got water, liquid. So, I think they launched a probe that went to Titan. It's interesting. I think it's on YouTube. You can watch the video. And they managed to land it on a dry area of land, and it's very interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Taking more check-ins for SWL Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please. Whiskey Bravo 7, Victor Papa India. Whiskey Bravo 7, Victor Papa India. And we picked up Walt in Gresham, Oregon, WB7VPI. Welcome back, Walt. And the question of the night, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, Alex, glad this radio is finally working well on this repeater, and that's a tough one. Because there's several things, but I think I'm going to go with it. And if anybody knows what it is, then you know. It's 10 of them.
Well, it worked for the first part. What was your answer again for the unlimited supply?
Almost a soup. It's a type of ramen.
Okay, thank you, Walt. And your question is, pump it up if you can. Let's see, here we are. Who was the very first successful American film actress? The very first enormously successful American film actress. Was it A, Betty Grable, B, Lillian Gish, or C, Hedley Lamar? Think back now, Walt. Was that Alpha, sir?
Roger, that's
Yeah, well, she goes back a ways, but the one that goes back even further to the silent area. The silent era is Lillian Gish. Yeah, she method acted so hard she gave herself nerve damage, but she was also very good and very cute, by the way. She's a great silent film actress, the first very successful one, and unfortunately she passed away before her time. Thank you. I don't know, that was a long time ago. Maybe it was her. Thank you, Will. W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona. I would take more check-ins for the SWL Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Hey, Alex, this is Brian, AC4BR. I will recheck, turn that I can be available.
CNK, Kilo Foxy, Charlie November, Kilo. All right, we picked up two more here. AC4BR, Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, and KF8CNK, Connor in Toledo. Glad you can make it back. Question of the night, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? Brian in Monticello.
Well, good evening, Alex and Vicky and everybody on the net. Sorry I missed y'all last week. Was out too late with the family. Unlimited supply. Well, I can think of a lot of things. Money, like some of them suggested, would be handy for this ham radio hobby of ours, but I'm going to go to the detriment of my own health with chocolate.
I'm surprised nobody said chocolate yet. That's Yeah, I hear you, Brian. All right, your question is the inspiration for our ancestors to domesticate wild grains came from the desire to consume A, bread, B, beer, or C, breakfast cereals.
Well, I would like to think bread, but I'm going to go with B, Bravo. I'm thinking probably a bit of a ethanol factor in there. I'll turn it back to you to say C4BR.
Of course it was beer. Yeah, they found out you can ferment grains and make beer, so they thought, hey, let's see what we can come up with here. And yeah, demand for, although bread was a distant second, I should point out, demand for reliable supplies of beer pushed early humans to plant wild grasses to selectively breed them over time into the grains we know today. And can thank beer for that. Thanks, Brian. KF8CNK, Connor in Toledo, Ohio, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? Oh, too much path noise, Connor. If you can increase your signal, raise your antenna, and whatever it takes. Try it again. I'm sorry, but we just can't pull you out. Try it again either later or next Saturday. If you can do something to improve that. And anyway, we'll give you an in and out for now. And we're taking more check-ins for the ECR Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
VK3 Alpha Whiskey Alpha. VK3 Alpha Whiskey Alpha.
All right, Daryl, I'm glad I could stall long enough for you to make it. Paradise Beach, Australia, VK3AWA, welcome back. The question of the night is, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and Nanette. I'm going to say heartbeats, unlimited heartbeats. Alex, back to you.
Yeah, what was the total amount, account, like something like 43 million, whatever, during your life? Anyway, yeah, got you down for help. Thank you, Daryl. Your question is, which of the following phobias is the fear of being alone? The fear of being alone. Is that A, agoraphobia, B, aerophobia, or C, acrophobia?
I think I'll go with B. Thanks, Alex.
Nicely done, Daryl. I thought somebody would think it was agoraphobia, which is the fear of people, but anyway, you're right. Yeah, the fear of being alone is aerophobia. Aerophobia, A-E-R-O-P-H-O-B-I-A. You got it, buddy. Thanks for checking in. It's W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona. Looking for more check-ins to the ECR Trivia Net. Full call sign. Phonetically twice, please.
Kilo 5 Yankee November uniform, K5 YNU.
This is from the land down under, Victor Kilowatt 1 Juicy Tomato, VK1JT, Canberra, Australia.
All right, we picked up two more. K5YUN, Foreign Conroe, Texas. Welcome back. And VK1JT, John, over in Canberra, Australia. Welcome back to you. And the question of the night is if you could live... Let me back up. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, well, what would it be? Foreign and Conroe.
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everyone on the net. I was thinking about fresh water from the mountain. No contamination. Fresh water.
Fresh, cool water. Cool water. All right, Florin, your question is... Let me scroll down a minute. Here we are. What famous female country singer once lost in her own look-alike contest to a man? Famous female country singer lost in a look-alike contest to a man. Was it A, Tammy Wynette, B, Loretta Lynn, or C, Dolly Parton?
Oh man, it's a guessing. I'll go with Charlie. Back to the net control. Thank you, Alex, for doing the net. K5 YNU.
And that would be correct. Yeah, that was Dolly Parton. She entered a Dolly Parton look-alike drag queen contest in Los Angeles and lost to a man dressed up like her. So, all right. Thanks, Lauren. And John, Canberra, Australia, VK1JT. Okay, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would you choose? He's trying to reconnect to VK1JT. No problem, I'll come back to him shortly. Timothy in Tillamook, KK7NXV, glad you can make it tonight. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
I think, this is KK7NXV, I have an unlimited supply of one thing, I guess with radio equipment, because, you know, it never ends.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Hey, thank you, Timothy. Your question is, which actor turned down a movie role that would have placed him on the Twin Towers in New York on 9/11? Yeah, they were going to film there on 9/11. He turned down the role. Was it A, Brad Pitt, B, Jackie Chan, or C, Tom Cruise?
I want to say Bravo. KK7NXV, back to net.
Very good, Tim. That could have been any of those actors, and you were correct. It was Jackie Chan. They were filming the movie Nosebleed, and they were going to do it on Twin Towers in New York in 9/11, but he turned down the role, and, well, that would have been a great stunt for him to escape the towers as they came down, but I won't go there. Thank you. Thank you, Timothy. All right, to see, we picked up one of our, by George, it is a facilitator, Kevin, in Portland, Oregon, K7K. Welcome back, Kevin. Glad you can make the net. And the question tonight is, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Hey, good evening, Alex. Checking in from the beach this weekend. So, your general question, how about self-compassion? I could use that for the rest of my life for sure. What's my question?
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Got you down, and your question is, Japan recently considered a law that would ban A, guns, B, crossbows, or C, obnoxious Americans.
Oh man, please tell me it's Charlie. KE7K.
No, apparently they still want our business, even the obnoxious ones. It was crossbows they were going to ban. Yeah, of course, guns, you need all kinds of permissions and everything to get one, but crossbows they were going to ban because, as you know, they'll pry my crossbow out of my hand when they take it from my cold, whatever. Thanks, Kevin. Hey, thanks for checking into the net. All right, more check-ins. Full call sign. Phonetically twice, please. Oh, and VK1 JT, if you're there, John and Canberra, please come back. Full sign. Phonetically twice, please.
Kilo 4 India Tango Alpha. Kilo 4 India Tango Alpha. Leo for Lauderdale.
Kilowatt, Fox 5, Whiskey, Fox X right, and now KF5, WFX.
Kilo Golf 7 Echo Mike November.
And we'll hold it up there. By the way, this is W7FTM along with Vicky, K8, and VKY, and you're listening to the ECR Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector. We have K4ITA, Leo in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome back, Leo. KF5, WFX, Marcus in Amarillo, Texas. I believe You were in and out. But let me know if I got that wrong. And KG7 EMN Kane in North Plains, Oregon. Question of the night is, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? K4ITA Leo in Fort Lauderdale.
Good evening. This is K4ITA. Just finished working. Business, going back home, ready to go to sleep. And, well, let me think just for a second. Unlimited supplies. Okay. Don't know. Maybe electricity. Yes, electricity. Back to net. Good evening.
Yeah, electricity is a good thing to have, especially if you come from somewhere that doesn't have electricity. I got you, buddy. All right, your question is, let's see. Sorry, I got to scroll down here to the next question. Hey, actor Johnny Depp once worked as a, how's this for obscure trivia? He once worked as a ballpoint pen salesman, B, drive-in theater parking lot cleaner, or C, pirate at Disneyland. What did that Johnny Depp guy used to do, here, Leo?
Okay, I have to guess. I'm sorry, I have to guess. I'm not a big expert of cinema. I like Johnny Depp, but I don't know that. I go with Alpha. Okay, back to you, back to net control. This is K4ITA. Good night, everybody.
Oh, knock it off, Leo. You knew that all along. Yeah, Johnny Depp used to be a fountain pen or a ballpoint pen salesman. Yep, that's, Can you make a living doing that? Good thing he chose acting. Thanks, thanks, Leo. You got it right. Kane in North Plains, Oregon. Welcome to the Saturday Night Trivia Net KG7 EMN. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, well, what would it be?
This is Kilo Golf 7 Echo Mike November. If I had to have an unlimited supply of one thing, I'd have to go with cash. I use the unlimited supply of anything else I'd want.
Cats or cash. Yeah, that makes more sense. All right, your question, Kane, is Pez candies. Remember those when we were kids, or maybe when your parents were kids? Pez P-Z candies were invented for A, soldiers in the field who needed candy that wouldn't melt. B, people who wanted to quit smoking. Or C, children who couldn't eat chocolate. Well, that could be any one of those. What do you think?
Kilo Well, as a smoker, and seeing how it would work, I'm going to go with B, Bravo.
Yeah, very good. That's exactly what they were invented for. German Edward Haas invented them in the 1920s as a smoking alternative. Pez comes from the German word for peppermint, which is what they all originally were. So thanks. Yeah, you got it, buddy. Thanks for help to hear you next Saturday night. Thanks for checking in. Okay, we'll take another call. Full call sign phonetically twice, please. If you want to check into the Trivia Net, we'll give you a question. For the Saturday Night Trivia Net, full call sign phonetically twice, please. Okay, I hear the crickets. Let's see how we did. It looks like we had 44 people checking in tonight, and thanks to everybody who did check in. And of those, pretty even split tonight. 19 people got their questions correct, and 18 people missed their question, which is 51.4% to 48.6% for all you CPAs out there. And as far as the question of the night, let's see. Oh, a bar graph. Yeah, that helps. Thanks, Vicky. Money was the winner in that. Yeah. If you wanted to, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? Of course, finances are always an issue. And second was health. And in third was time. All things worthy. And world peace actually came in there too. So that would be fourth. Oh well. With food, but then you gotta expect that. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody who participated tonight, with special thanks, of course, to Vicky, K8VKY, for logging that in the background and giving me all those statistics. We now return control of the East Coast Reflector back to you until next week at the same time, and the control voice will take you to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. 7-3, good night, W7 FTM clear.